Testing. 1, 2, and 3. We are live. Hey everybody, VGShine here, and welcome back to the Innsmouth Case. And as always, I have my two sidekicks, sidekicks here. We got Eric and we got Joe.
Hello.
Hi.
Yep. How you guys doing?
Pretty
Doing
good.
good. How are you doing?
Yep. I'm doing fantastic myself. So, yeah, in the last stream, we basically, like, an old lady basically buried us in dirt, and now we are running away from a mob, I think. Yep. So yeah, this time I set the stream to ultra low latency mode, so the chat I should be able to communicate with the chat more often now. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right back to where we left off. Yeah, you guys can see the game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You too.
Alright, here we go. You've made it. At last you've seen the streets of Innsmouth. They had closed in on you so much that the whole place felt like it was suffocating you. A vast void of darkness lies ahead of you. The lousy little coastal town lies behind you. You've swapped it for a bumpy dirt road and a parking lot whose motorized inhabitants glisten peacefully in the moonlight. At least it's not raining anymore.
Yep.
But it's still freezing. You take a deep breath. The pressure in your chest that built up during the day now finally dissipates. Sweet relaxation. You will revel in it as soon as you've made it back to Boston safely and have firmly planted your behind on your leather couch. But how are you going to get home now?
If I didn't, then whatever.
Alright, how are we going to get home?
Let's see. Probably look around the parking lot first.
Okay. The parking lot is surrounded by a fence made from some simple wooden beams. You almost gracefully jump over the fence and find yourself surrounded by many cars of different makes and different generations. In addition to the recent models, which you can see every day from your office window, there are some real classics on display. Their kind still have a real horn attached to their bodies. Aren't the owners worried that their antique cars might get stolen? In the middle of this overflowing parking lot, in the dead of night, you consider your options.
I thought they were going to talk about girls.
No. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way, everybody.
Happy
Happy
Valentine's.
Valentine's Day.
Yes, that was actually what that was one of the things I was thinking. They would talk about girls and say, oh, there's these cute, attractive girls.
Yeah, when I think of like a town full of fish people, I think of hot, sexy ladies. Alright, Joe, should we break into a car or keep wandering around?
Keep wandering around.
Alright. There must be a better way to get out of all this than stealing a car. You walk aimlessly across the car cemetery and stroll past the many pickup trucks. You make a detour over to the antique cars and stroke your fingertips over the sandy windows of the minibuses. There's no cab stand anywhere. You have already gotten used to it, but there's still not reception on your cell phone. There simply is no other solution to your problem. How else are you supposed to leave this place? Stealing is such an unpleasant word. Borrowing, indefinitely, sounds much nicer. Alright, guess we're breaking into a car then. You could break into a car, preferably one of the newer models. One that screams out, "Take me, my battery still has some juice left." Step 1, break in. You need to hurry up, there's no time for any extravagant stunts. You would love to smash the car window with your elbow, just like in movies. Your weapon of choice? A stone that fits snugly into your fist and will soon make an intimate acquaintance with a car window. You aim, and the stone meets no resistance. The window is cranked down. Fine, if irresponsible. Some psycho might come along and steal the car. Without much delay, you pry open the plastic dashboard. You half worry that the many scenes from the TV in which someone short-circuits a car are all just made-up nonsense. But today must be your lucky day. It actually works. The car engine is howling. You put the car into reverse and maneuver it out of the narrow parking space. The headlights illuminate the many parked cars which have been assembled here over decades. A shiver goes down your spine. The car dashes out of the parking lot and chases down the dirt road. Something tells you that there won't be any oncoming traffic tonight. As you steer the car from the dirt road onto the next country road, you're overcome by a sudden sense of relief. The engine roars and you speed off into the dark.
That's one way to take things.
Yep. Boston, the 13th of November. You jerk awake. Only the pale moonlight seeps through the blinds of your apartment. It must be very late in the night. You're soaked in sweat, as per usual. You sit up on the edge of the bed and try to calm down. You're safe. You're at home. You've managed to put an end to their schemes, the kidnappings, and all the lies. You've escaped, but you're still under the spell of Innsmouth. Oh. You returned to Boston. You did everything you could. So yeah, I guess I guess we got a not really bad but not very good ending. All right. So I guess we left off at like near the tail end of like our decisions. So yeah, let's see. Well, we have the option of basically picking like a chapter to go back to. Let's see. Okay, let's load the city entry chapter and see if we can do something different. Finally, Innsmouth, you examine your surroundings while you stretch your legs trying to unwind from this stressful journey. No artist could have adequately captured the serenity and beauty of this place. A clear blue sky lights up the town square, which is paved with bright limestone, surrounded by neo-colonial buildings reminiscent of 19th century New England. A fresh sea breeze, crying seagulls, and locals going about their business. In the center of the square, water trickles from a fountain. As you stretch your limbs and breathe in the clean air, you're suddenly startled by the water feature right in front of you. The fountain is an enormous fish-like brass creature. An open jaw lined with shark-like fangs sprouts brackish water down its massive, humanly contorted body. As if that wasn't enough, there appear to be human bodies squirming underneath its massive claws. Their faces are as contorted as yours is right now. How long have you been standing here? Eyes wide open in shock, you feel utterly paralyzed. You start to scan the town square and notice more and more disturbing details. On every corner, you spot ornamental statues and reliefs of fish. But these are not your classic harmless kinds of fish. These are pagan symbols and grimaces of supernatural creatures from the darkest crevices of the deep sea. In surrounding houses, you can see faces pressed against the windows. All the locals appear to be watching you. You suddenly start to think that the cries of the seagulls sound particularly human-like. They sound like humans crying out in pain. What happened to that idyllic scene from a few moments ago? Alright. So yeah, Alita, should we turn around or ignore? Yeah, I have it on ultra low latency, so it shouldn't take too long for you to respond now. Yep, Alita wants us to turn around, so I guess we're turning around. We're going home. Welcome to Innsmouth. How nice of you to visit. A small olive woman waves at you from afar. She beams at you as if you were her long-lost grandchild. She seems very different to the boys you've met so far out on the bus into town. Her squealing shakes you off your nightmarish panic. It's so good to have you here. I've noticed you're very taken by our local fountain. It was built in 1704 by Abdul Necrotis, a favorite artist and friend of Charles Dexter Tillinghast, the founder of Innsmouth. The central figure was a present, and it was supposed to commemorate their travels together in Cairo. You can clearly see the Egyptian influences in Necrotis' work, here and here. She points wildly in every direction. And here, but I'm sure you've already noticed this yourself. You look like someone who knows his way around art, she says with a wide smile. You're still in shock. She beams at you. Alright. Eric, how should we respond?
Let's see. She looks similar to the old lady guy.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
Of course, I'm an art historian.
I'm a hot historian, of course. She enthusiastically starts clapping and squealing. A small, plump person in a garish costume and finishes off all her sentences with a delighted chuckle. Oh, I noticed that at once. How rude of me. I haven't even introduced myself. My name is Muriel Pooping Place. I'm the director of the Parks Commission and Chief Tourism Officer and head of the Welcoming Committee. Ta-da! Yep, still funny even after we've seen this like a week ago. Behind Muriel, there's a ramshackle wooden information stand lovingly decorated with balloons. A colorful painted sign reads, "Welcome to Innsmouth." Muriel tiptoes over to her information stand and picks up a whole load of flyers and leaflets from the rickety display cases. She looks down at all the papers in her arms and briefly shakes with laughter. My goodness, why don't you take the city map to begin with? Useful. You take the map and put it in your coat pocket. Would you like to find out more about our wonderful town, which has been awarded the East Coast Stunning Town Award for several years in a row? And would you, Joe? Would we?
Actually, I'm looking for someone.
Here I am. The small, plump woman starts giggling. Innsmouth welcomes you warmly. So you're looking for someone? It's not that uncommon for two lonely hearts to find one another in this romantic place. Muriel winks at you. Alright, Alita. Should we mention the missing girl or just say hello, Muriel? Also, looks like Joe's cat is joining the stream.
Yeah, I tried to move her to the other room, but I guess she decided to come back into my bedroom. So I'll try to Hopefully, I'll try to. I'm not saying this try. Hopefully, she doesn't make a lot of noise.
You see, I'm looking for this girl. It's always about a girl, isn't it? Tabitha Marsh, 8 years old. Her mother asked me to take on the case. You take out the photo and Muriel immediately rips it out of your hand. Oh, what a cutie, but I'm sorry to say I've not heard anything about missing girls. How awful. This sort of thing doesn't happen in Innsmouth. Perhaps you can have a look around at the beach or on the playground. There are a lot of kids around there. I'm sure that's where the little one will be. With an unnaturally wide grin, she hands you back the photo, turns around quickly, and makes her way over to accost another tourist family. You head further into town along the cobbled road in the direction of the coast. Not long ago, the sun was bright in the sky, but already the first wafts of mist are creeping into the streets. The air feels thicker and the sun can no longer penetrate the fog. Time to think about where you want to go. You slow down. You lean your briefcase against the wall and start pacing up and down the quiet alleyway. You've got an important choice to make right now. The city center is in the north. Even from afar, you can see the outlines of them old and ornately decorated buildings in the main town square. Here you should find this police station, the main shopping street, and of course the town hall. As a coastal town, Innsmouth also has a harbor. For your research, you found out that this is a bustling area with a dreaming beach. You expected to be mostly tourists. According to your research, the only hotel in town, the Gilman Hotel, is located in the old town. You think about checking in. You could do a freshening up and getting rid of that bus smell that so clinging to your clothes. As you're about to set off, your heart leaps into your throat. You've forgotten your briefcase. This has never happened to you. You usually take good care of the little you possess. There's nothing you can do about this now. You'll have to wait until your return journey to find out whether someone has headed in that the lost and found. Still, you could swear that the briefcase was already gone when you got off the bus. You decide on... Alright, Eric, I think we picked the city center last time, so maybe either the hotel or the harbor this time?
Let's try the Guildman Hotel.
Alright. Yeah, I remember in the first playthrough, we didn't go to the hotel until late at night and it was locked. You recognize its roof from afar, and after a long walk, it is now before you in full splendor. The Gilman Hotel. At least it's easy to see that it once must have been a gorgeous building. The hotel resembles an old English country estate, but in its present state, it would be suited as a setting for a very predictable film about teenagers and chainsaw killers. Wild and withered ivy has a firm grip on the walls and obscures the details of the richly decorated facade. A gallery of gargoyles, melted into unreal shapes by acid rain and acidic pigeon droppings, lines the roof. The many window panes have been neglected for years. Only in a few places has a small area been wiped clean in order to see outside. There are 2 cars in the parking lot, a vintage car with large rust spots and a large gray van. The kind of van you've always been warned about as a child. Alright, Joe, what should we do now?
Let's see. Inspect the cars.
Okay. You look around again just to make sure that the people who own the cars aren't hiding somewhere with their shotgun at the ready. The coast is clear. First, you walk over to the antique car. Well, you're not a car expert, but the car looks antique to you anyway. Both seats inside are made of white leather, a bit tacky. You turn away from the antique car and look towards the van. No writing on the side, a regular registration plate. The windows in the front blacked out. Hang on, you have a brainwave. Maybe this is the van in which poor Tabitha has been pulled when she was kidnapped. When she was lured to her awful fate by sweets and lollipops. That sound. Alita? Alita's thinking. Still thinking. I'm assuming they mean completely plausible. Of course, it all makes sense. In all likelihood, you've just managed to find the actual kidnapper. The seed of all that is evil and wrong in this case. And all you had to do was book a hotel room and stare at cars. You're a natural. Now all you need is some proof. What's the plan, Stan? Okay, Stan, what's the plan?
Who's...
That means you, Eric. Yeah, that means you, Eric.
Alright. Well, let's see. You can try to get in the boot, but I don't know how old that car is. Some cars you can actually get out from inside.
Okay.
Probably not the
Alright,
wisest idea.
Okay. So, are you saying we should do it?
Yeah.
Alright.
Smash.
Of course! What it?
Plus, smashing the window would cause too much.
Of course! Whatever it is that you're looking for must be in the back of the van. Excitedly, you look around the van. Sadly, the door is not open. That would have been truly lucky. Full of optimism, you try the handle to see if the door has been left unlocked. There's no noticeable resistance when you turn the handle. Damn, you won't get in without the car key. You walk back to stand in front of the bonnet of the van. Alright, Joe, what should we do now?
Smash in the window.
Okay. A brilliant idea! Your brain is running at full speed while complimenting itself for its ingenuity. A good day indeed. What's the best way of smashing in the window? Alita?
This gets better and better, doesn't it?
Yep. Yep, we're just smashing into random people's cars for no good reason. Elbow super kill. Yep, I agree. Elbow. All your heroes from the 80s and 90s action movies get right into it when they have to collect evidence. Yes, in order to expose a child trafficking ring, an investigator sometimes has to operate within gray areas of the law, whether they like it or not. And you're all for it. So much so that you lift your arm up high and smash it right into the window. Silence. There's a short muffled noise when your elbow hits the extremely resistant window glass, then silence. In agonizing pain, you stagger back from the still intact window, and soon you start jumping around in circles, cursing Bruce Willis's manly biceps. It feels as if someone had wrapped barbed wire around your arm. That could have gone better. You roll up your sleeve. Little red dots have already begun to cover your elbow. That's going to be ugly for a while. Congratulations! You've almost crippled yourself. The pain in your arm, still throbbing and slowly fading, has ruined your mood. Stupid, ugly car. Silly cracks appear in your reasoning. Are these kinds of handyman cars often parked in front of hotels and they're performing maintenance jobs? You've stayed in this parking lot long enough. You don't want anyone else to call the police on you. Maybe you should just go and book your room. So that was basically a complete waste of time. You really hope the inside of the hotel has been looked after a little better than the outside, but you're quickly disabused of that notion. The massive wooden door is difficult to open. Shouldn't the staff be doing this anyway? With a loud creaking sound from the hinges and an exhausted puffing and panting of your part, you manage to open the door and enter the lobby of the Gilman Hotel. You wonder if guests are even welcome in this place. The room is sparsely lit. There are impressive chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, which, if working, would perhaps not quite get the grand hall back its original splendor, but at least convey more warmth. Your first steps tell you that there are rotten floorboards hiding under the thick carpet. The green wall paneling and wallpaper also appear rotten and musty. Sort of wet. Eric?
Alright, let's see. Check into the... Well, might as well go to the reception, because that way you can get a key.
Yep, that's a good plan. Before you let yourself be distracted by the questionable interior design and the associated health issues, you walk purposely towards the reception desk. A small greenish creature stands behind the counter. The loudly humming ceiling lamp above harshly illuminates his silhouette and gives his face hard edges. You can make out every individual speck of dust and dandruff of his dark graying velvet collar and crooked shoulders. Maybe they should be dimming the lights after all. The figure smiles at you, or perhaps it's more of a grin. His face unsettles you. You lean forward at an angle to get a better look at him. The corners of his mouth reach all the way up to his dried up ears. His smile looks like it's painted on. His beady eyes lie deep in the cavity of his skull and seems to stare in opposite directions. Has he even blinked yet? And on top of it all, he smells funny. How may I help? You startle and take a step back. Welcome to the Gilman Hotel. My name is Cornelius Gilman III. How may I be of service to you? The man's gaze remains unchanged, and his unnatural smile still seems to be etched into his face. You're still surprised that he can talk with that expression on his face. Just a moment ago, you could have sworn he was an inanimate puppet. Just like now when he's not speaking. Joe?
I would like to book a room, please.
I would like to book a room, you begin, and manage not to blurt out in a different hotel. Perfect. The Gilman Hotel is delighted to be able to welcome you as its guest. May I ask whether you're in Innsmouth for business or pleasure? How long will you be staying with us? Would you prefer a view towards the beach or the skyline of our exciting town? When would you like to be woken up? Do you sleep deeply? Are you traveling alone? Do you have family? Who knows that you're here? Can I interest you in our spa, fitness, and wellness activities? Would you like to subscribe to our newsletter? How long can you hold your breath? That's a weird question, Alita.
Always up with the weird questions.
Yeah. You tick the box next to business, pleasure, or none of the options and run another business. Eric?
Let's see. Business.
Okay. How long will you be staying with us? Joe?
Let me see. Not sure I'll be able to make it through more than one night.
Favorite view? Alita? Oh my god. I'm sure these answers are going to be super important to the story. Sit. Would you like to be woken up, Eric?
Yes, at 6 a.m. Sharp.
Do you sleep deeply? Odd question. Joe?
I can't be woken up that easily.
Are you traveling by yourself, Alita? Always. Do you have family, Eric?
I wish to start a family.
Who knows that you're here, Joe?
Nobody knows I'm here.
Can I interest you in our spa, fitness, and wellness activities, Alita? Yes, everybody is sus. Alright, he's alright, they say yes. Would you like to subscribe to our newsletter, Eric? So basically, how do you like to respond no?
No, no, and no.
How long can you hold your breath, Joe?
"30 seconds.
Are we done now? Can I go to my room? The concierge's expression did not change a tiny bit for the duration of your conversation, let alone did he blink. Thank you very much. That's all I needed to know. Now all you need to do is sign here. He tilts his strangely shaped head over to the guest register. Impatiently, you sign with, Alita. Yep, Ellie likes the noob one. I do too. XXX, New Slayer, 555XXX. Sadly, we're all booked up this season. There's only one spare room. Here's your key for room 666. Enjoy your stay. You look at the key, which has magically appeared on the counter. Then your eyes slowly wander past the man to the wall, where countless other keys are hanging. What now, Eric?
But now, let's see. Well, you should probably search for Tabitha, I think.
Yep.
Because now we can always come back.
Yep. Thanks so much. At least you've got a bed for the night. You think it's best not to waste any more time and decide to immediately keep looking for the girl. With quick steps, you've hurried out of the building, but you can still feel the eyes of the concierge on you. Time to go and look for Tabitha. Your investigation leads you to... Joe?
The barbecue.
That's not one of the choices.
Oh, the harbor. Okay, I misread that.
Yep. Innsmouth Harbor is a sign posted much better than the local hospital. You wonder if a hospital is even needed here. It's a half-hour walk. A mile-long carpet of cobblestones is now ahead of you. Traffic in Boston is more hectic, but at least they have heard of asphalt before. As you keep walking, there are fewer and fewer residential buildings along your path, and instead there are now warehouses that must be fish markets due to the smell. You can also hear the occasional metallic clinking from nearby workshops. People in gray raincoats are walking towards you. They're probably fishermen who have some errands to run. Now and again, in that split second when you pass one another, you catch a glimpse of the faces hidden under the hoods. Puffy eyes that look at you suspiciously. Although there are a few clouds in the sky, there's no chance of rain as far as you can tell. Why are they all wrapped up like that? You wonder if they have a sixth sense for approaching storms. The sound of the rhythmic blows of a hammer nearby tears you away from these thoughts. It'd be interesting to watch the work of the shipyard, but little Tabitha is unlikely to be here to play. From a distance, you can already see the masts of the boats, which rise up in the sky like a row of spears. You walk along a small street at the quay, with the harbor basin just behind it. Alright, Alita? Look around. The view of the harbor is splendid. Boats of all shapes and sizes are coming and going. Nets are being emptied out and fish seem to be endlessly splashing into huge freezer boxes. Local trades are being sealed with handshakes, and at the end of a wide headland, a huge lighthouse watches majestically over the bay. The ideal postcard motif if it weren't for the people. Only know fishermen from the movies, and you have to admit they have certain prejudices. These include, they have weather-beaten skin and the captains always have well-groomed beards. They're either strong, silent types or hard-drinking lads who sing filthy sea shanties. But these creatures in front of you are neither majestic
I
nor
think it's
elegant.
filthy sea shanties.
Okay. What did I say?
You said kind of like not shanties. You said santies.
Well, I mean, I'm reading a lot. Just
Yeah. So, some of the wording is kind of hard.
Yeah. They move around more like treasure hunchbacks you'd expect to see in French cathedrals. A few yards to the right, there's a fork in the road, and a roadside pointing further north. Its inscription leads Innsmouth Paradise Beach. In the far distance, you can see a building that looks like a church. Hang on, a church on the coast? How eccentric. You go to Eric.
Let's see. Go to. Beach, the church. I'd say probably lighthouse.
Okay. Initially, it looked as if the lighthouse was quite close, but as you keep walking, you realize that the trip is much longer than you expected. A path consisting of jagged rocks leads to the lighthouse in the harbor. The lighthouse is on the end of a narrow strip of land, and as you walk towards it, the surging waves risk drenching your clothes in icy salt water. It takes all your concentration and some balancing not to wipe out on the slippery rocks. In your mind's eye, new bills are already fluttering in the mailbox. One from the shoe repair shop, and one from the psychotherapist. An overturned wooden sign lies on the ground between a few of the rocks. You read the label. Warning, absolutely no trespassing. Innsmouth hasn't been precisely inviting since your arrival. So you already know the tune. You approach the lighthouse, looking for shelter. But with every step you take, the place becomes more and more unwelcoming. The gray clouds transform into a mighty storm. Lightning strikes the top of the tower and sparks fly. Despite the storm, the lighthouse keeper hasn't put on the signal, though there is no beam of light to guide boats out there safely to the harbor of Innsmouth. Soon you're completely drenched, but you make it at last. You're standing at the door leading into the inside of the lighthouse. Some joker has scratched something into the flaking white layer of paint on the surface of the door. Do not come any closer. They want your body. This sounds suspiciously like Joe.
Let's see. A sex cult.
One hears about these sex cults all the time. You regularly watch documentaries about them on special websites that you was in incognito mode. This special and intensive form of preparation should have taught you everything you need to know and do if you ever encounter a cult. You tuck your underwear into place and walk purposely forward. After all, you're on a mission. You consider the dangers that this dilapidated old building may hold, a fragile building about to collapse. You'll have nutters or aluminum hats, 600 mindless and naked cultists, house dust. Not to mention the missing girl that you need to find. Still, how often do you come to a place like this? Almost automatically, your hand comes to rest on the black iron door handle and pushes it down slowly and carefully. The door opens a crack, giving you a small glimpse into the neglected interior of the lighthouse. Darkness. Alright, Alita, do we enter or return? Alright, let's enter. Unsure of what to do next, you peek into the darkness. It's a tall, dark building. A very, very tall and thin building, admittedly. It is highly unlikely that the lighthouse will collapse today of all days. At least this is what you keep repeating in your mind, like a mantra. You step inside. It's dry, but cold. The icy, stale air cools your shivering limbs even further. A spiral staircase leads up to the highest levels and to the top of the lighthouse. On the higher floors, you can see round windows in the side of the wall, through which thunder and lightning throw brief flickers of light. Even the lowest corridors catch some of this light, so that you find yourself not completely in the dark. There are also some lamps that wind up along the banister. The black and white tiles on the floor have probably not been cleaned since the dawn of time. Storage boxes are cluttered around the place and take up about a third of the area of the ground level. To your astonishment, the walls of the lighthouse consist of a solid stone foundation. The metallic red and white painted exterior cladding must have been installed sometime later as a modernization measure. You think that a sex cult in here is now a bit unlikely, but you do not want to give up hope just yet. What now, Eric?
Alright. Let's see. Probably we want to maybe flip the light switch.
Trying won't hurt, unless of course you blow a fuse. You flip the light switch and wait in the twilight for something to happen. You know from old lamps in the cellar that they sometimes need a little time. You flip the switch again, and again, and you come to the conclusion that you'll have to make do with the pale daylight. As you look more closely, you realize that there's an inscription just above the light switch. Joe?
Let's see. Read the inscription.
You managed to make out, activate to close the electrical circuit. Electricity powers many machines, especially those giving off light and warmth. Indeed, that is how light switches work. Well observed, strange person who wrote on the wall. Alright, Alita, what do we do now? Wants us to inspect the boxes. Considering that the lighthouse is easy to reach from the port, it strikes you as odd that there are all these supplies here. The boxes seem to hold up food supplies, which make up the bulk of the goods, and loads of spare electrical parts. You inspect one of the open crates that, according to its label, have been delivered by a company from Salem. Spare lamps, tools, wiring. In theory, even a dusty system such as this one can be brought back to life with all these parts. The food is not quite to your taste, but efficient. Tinned tuna, sauerkraut, and all kinds of canned fruit still fill over half of one of the open crates. Four of the boxes are empty. 12 others are still untouched. Whoever lived here must have avoided contact with the locals like the devil avoiding the holy water. Finally, some sensible people. Let's climb the stairs. The banister has suffered the most age damage. The ravages of time have not only worn away the paint and the metal, but also the iron struts and pillars themselves. The scaffolds seem to move up precariously as you walk up, just as if the construction is about to collapse. When you're halfway up the stairs, you can hear a loud metallic creaking sound. The stairway suddenly jerks down a level, and your insides feel like they continue dropping to the ground. Fine dust flutters down onto your head. You try to guess the depth of the fall. If the structure were to collapse now, you would break quite a few bones, or worse. The chances of you getting caught up in a sex cult decreases with every step you take. Eric?
Let's see. Probably keep walking.
Just because the core of the spiral staircase is a bit loose, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to collapse, right? And perhaps it's just a residual alcohol in your bloodstream that's causing everything to spin. You carefully continue your way to one of the higher floors. About 30 feet above the entrance hall is the first mezzanine floor. Mezzanine floor, yeah. The metal plate in the core of the spiral staircase would also provide some stability if the whole thing wasn't so damn rusty. You can see a plain bed, a desk with a telephone, a chest of drawers, and a wardrobe with an embedded mirror. A Persian carpet is laid out over the ribbed metal floor, a pathetic attempt to make this room a little more homely. At least there is a window on this level. Rain pelts against the glass. The weather outside seems to get worse and worse. You hesitate. Joe?
Uh, inspect the room more closely.
There's not much to explore here. Some neatly folded sheets and bedding have been placed on the bed. Awaiting a new inhabitant, perhaps? Return to the desk. On it are a few envelopes and an atlas. You inspect. Wow, there's a lot of choices. Lita? Alright. He wants us to inspect the telephone. It's an old telephone with a dial plate. Just for fun, you pick up the receiver and get a dial tone. Next to the phone is another note. Communication apparatus connects acoustically to other similarly constructed equipment after the identification number is entered. Identification numbers can be obtained in person or from the central register provided. Under the phone are two old books dating back to the 70s. The first one is a consumer electronics manual. A short lead-through shows you manuals and construction plans for TVs, cameras, telephones, radios, cars, and the like. The other book is a Boston phone book. There's a bookmark peeking out of the side of it. When you open the book on the page, the phone number of a carpet cleaning company is marked. You can't make neither head nor tail of the matter. Eric?
Alright. Probably call the phone number.
On a whim, you decide to call the number. Maybe someone on the other end has an explanation for all this. You know that it's very likely that the shop is bankrupt and the connection has been switched off. After all, the number is from the early 70s. To your surprise, there's a signal and it seems to ring at the other end. After 4 or 5 rings, someone eventually picks up the phone. But instead of a voice, you hear a series of strange clicking noises, as if a giant cricket or an angry lobster were at the other end. Click, click. Joe?
Hello?
Hello? Anybody there? The clicking sound on the other end ceases and a voice comes through the receiver. Cole's carpet cleaner, James speaking. How can I help? It really is a carpet cleaner. Who would have thought? Alita? Okay. I'm calling from a lighthouse. A lighthouse? Really? Have you ever looked at the sea from above? There's something quite surreal about the answer. No. You should definitely do that. The view is breathtaking. It goes so far as to say it can change your whole life. But if you're in Innsmouth, there's nothing I can do for you. We only clean carpets in Boston. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have work to do. Hung up. Alright. Guess we're gonna be expecting something else. Eric?
Alright. Maybe inspect the envelopes.
You grab an envelope in the stack. Your fingers glide over the rough, fibrous paper. In the faint light, you can see how yellowed the envelope is. Either this is a specially made paper from the craft shop, or these letters are pretty old. The envelope is not sealed, so you fish out 10 $100 bills and a piece of paper with strange doodles that don't make sense to you. Is that a language? The characters are too chaotic for normal text, going across in rows and back again. On the back, you find a small text in English. Means of payment necessary for the purchase of goods and services. Valid from, to, with some doodles instead of a date. Maybe it's art? The only question is whether you're going to pocket the money or not. Joe?
No, that would be theft.
With a heavy heart, you stuff the note and the bills back into the envelope. The money does not belong to you, and whoever it is for, that someone might return soon. You take great pains not to look in the wardrobe mirror. You probably look like you took a bite out of a lemon. Alright, Lita, what do we inspect now? Alright, we're inspecting the bed. Doesn't look super cozy. There's a note pinned to the headboard. Place of rest, used for sleep cycle and procreation rituals. Traditionally used during the night time. For care, instructions and terminology, check. The rest of the note is not legible and covered up by strange scribbles. Well, guess that's all there was to it. Eric?
Alright. Well, let's go with the Atlas.
The Atlas from 1984 is still in amazingly good condition. You'd think that it had been sitting here on this desk for decades waiting just for you. You look through the table of contents and then flip through the Atlas. Some pages are marked. Areas in Antarctica and Australia are marked with strange curls. In addition, pages about the United States, the states of Massachusetts, and surroundings of Innsmouth are marked. A yellowed road map of Innsmouth has been stuck into these pages like a bookmark. The lighthouse is marked. On the last page, you will find an entry. Land mass distribution and political territories. Valid for, followed by the series of the same curls. Put back the book how you found it. And, yep, we're done inspecting. You think you have seen enough and continue to follow the banister up the stairs.
The only one
Meanwhile,
intended to
thunder-
allow us to inspect was the bed.
I guess there wasn't much to the bed. You think you have seen enough and continue to follow the banister up the stairs. Meanwhile, thunder and lightning outside have become so furious, just as if the center of the storm is the lighthouse itself. Stoically, you continue your way upstairs, and the banister continues to wobble and squeak suspiciously, but it withstands the strain. The radius of the spiral staircase gradually becomes smaller. You estimate that you are now halfway up the building. You walk past another platform floor. This level was obviously used for nothing else but storing boxes. At least 30 or 40 stacked boxes fill the brim with books. Seeing all these books causes... Joe?
A warm and fuzzy feeling in the pit of your stomach.
How adorable. The previous lighthouse keepers must have been bibliophiles. You hope that you get to meet them, even though the place does look pretty deserted. You hesitate. Should we inspect the books? Okay, Leah's gone for a bit, so we'll go right to Eric.
Alright. So, let's inspect the books.
You take a moment to examine the boxes and their contents more closely. Quickly, you realize that there are almost exclusively non-fiction books. You discover lexicons, grammar for English and Spanish, non-fiction books on biology, chemistry, physics, and geography. There's also a Bible, a guide to etiquette, and a worn handbook for tourists on the East Coast. Out of interest, you flip through some of the books. The newest ones seem to be from around the 1980s, but some go as far back as the 20s. Many are decorated with strange curls around the edges. In the last box, you find a few books that differ greatly from the scientific character of the rest. These are books about occultism and obscure religions. Titles like The Mysteries of the Worm, Unspeakable Cults, and Liber Iris. Then there's also a book by a popular UFO nutcase, and suddenly everything makes sense. Maybe the lighthouse keeper was a little soft in the head. Probably the loneliness. You keep walking up the stairs past another mezzanine, and you're on the upper level of the lighthouse. It's getting more and more unlikely that you'll find anything relating to your case here. Oh well. Joe?
Up to the last level.
The last steps are always the hardest. Or was it the first ones? No matter which steps, your heart is now beating so strongly that you can feel it pressing against your chest. Once you're back home, you should really consider a healthier lifestyle. At last, you have reached the top floor of the lighthouse. Dull glass windows separate you from the thunderstorm outside. Rain pours down on the panes, and lightning occasionally illuminates the sky and reveals a debilitating sea. If you were an artist, this would be the ideal place to paint tasteless paintings with ships on the churning waters. In the center of the floor, there is a metal column that must be there to support the lighthouse's uppermost platform. You assume that all this serves to stabilize and balance the construction. Apart from that, the floor is completely unfurnished. Sheets of paper with strange doodles are fixed to some of the window panels. Pencil portraits of people, trees, houses, dogs. Around each drawing, someone seems to have made notes, but you can't make out the language. I wonder if it was a destitute artist who lived here towards the end, or some sort of Russian sleeper agent. Another ramp leads to the top of the lighthouse, where the actual lighthouse apparatus must be installed. You walk up the steep stairs. You've done it! You made it to the top of the lighthouse! Not in a million years did you think that this job would take you to such an exciting place in a boring coastal town. There is still a nasty thunderstorm out there, and the lightning keeps illuminating the glass cage and erratic intervals. Spellbound, you look at the roaring waves. They're beautiful. The powerful and steady movement of the waves, the foaming salt water splashing up also incredibly high. You're so enticed by all that majestic beauty that you almost wish you were outside now, to feel the fresh sea breeze on your skin. But wait, why did you come here again? You try to tear yourself away from the endless spectacle of the sea and turn your attention to the center of the small glass dome. It is then that you make a curious observation. The lighthouse has no light at all! Dun dun dun! There is no light construction that could rotate in the direction of the harbor and the sea. Not even a flashlight or a microphone stand. Where you would expect some sort of electrical machine, there is only a black column of about 3 feet high, whose curved forms merge at the top into a kind of marble plate. An altar, a voice in the back of your head informs you. There is a cube on the altar. Eric?
Look at the cube more closely.
Intrigued, you walk closer. The material of the cube must be bronze. It glistens dully in front of the black marble column. This object looks as if it belongs just there. It's perfect right where it is. Everything looks like as if it's been made from one piece. When your first thought was some arbitrary decoration, turns out to be hieroglyphics, cranes, simple tools, knowing eyes. Curiously, you walk to the column on which the cube rests. What are Egyptian hieroglyphics doing in the lighthouse on the east coast of the United States? Your fingers are itching. Joe?
Take the cube into your possession.
Just for a brief second. You simply have to hold the bronze cube in your hands, feel the texture of its surface on your fingertips, inspect the hieroglyphics more closely, measure its exact weight, smell it, lick it. You have to know everything, absolutely everything about it. I think it's like referencing like old point and click adventures. You extend your hand and touch the cube. And now you can't let go of it again. It seems to have melted into your skin, or somehow attached itself to you. Yes, it has sucked itself onto you, and it continues to suck. Your consciousness and your soul, everything is now trapped in a never-ending slipstream coming from this cube. You feel like you're caught in a mighty vortex that pulls you down deeper and ever deeper. All of a sudden, you have a strange out-of-body experience and start to see yourself in the perspective of the cube. You feel something unbelievably strange beside you. Some sort of being has emerged from the depths of the vortex and is passing you by to float in the opposite direction. Your soul is swallowed by the cube and something strange occupies your body, loosens the last anchors and pushes you over the edge. You cling desperately to your mortal shell, and then your consciousness starts to crumble. For a brief moment, you think that, from the perspective of the cube, you're looking at eyes that no longer belong to you. Then, everything goes black.
Something tells me this is like the Hobbit's Fool's Gold or something.
So now we are in an unknown location. As you wake up from lustrous dreams, a bright light shines in your eyes. You feel like a burning sensation directly penetrating into your brain. After the initial shock, you gradually come to your senses. You are no longer in the lighthouse. You find yourself in a huge round chamber made of dark, smooth stone. Curved lines adorn the walls and give off a soft fluorescent glow. You begin to wonder how many hours you've been knocked out. Did you have a stroke? No wonder, given all the stress you constantly put yourself under. A sound, a chirping and clacking that vaguely reminds you of insects. Only it's louder, and it seems to be coming from directly behind you. Someone's in this room with you. You turn around quickly, trying to find the source of the clacking sound, and you regret it immediately. Hideous, bizarre monsters are lined up in front of you like on the set of a bad horror movie. They're basically just huge cones of flesh covered with a thin film of slime. You instinctively think of... Alright, Alita? And yeah, in case you missed it, Joe had us touch a cube and it sent us in like an alternate dimension or something. Slugs. They have uneven skin covered with furrows and wrinkles and a thin film of mucus. You involuntarily think back to your childhood, that dark period you refer to as the Big Snail Plague. You shudder at the thought of the army of snails that torpedoed your tender attempts to grow your own small tomato plantation in the family garden. Then came the rats, but right now you have other problems. The flesh cones are a bizarre sight. Your mind is having trouble processing what it sees. At the top of the flesh cones, there are 4 tentacle-like growths, each ending in a different organ. 2 form huge sharp claws that appear to be clicking incessantly. Another one ends in a jumble of trumpet-like tubes, and a 4th one forms what you think is the head of the creature. A round organ with 3 eyes, a set of feelers above, and a ring of tentacles just below. Half of a dozen of these creatures now stare at you from their bright yellow eyes, clicking their scissors menacingly. One of the beings breaks away from the grip and comes towards you with its claws raised. You do the only rational thing. Eric?
Let's see. You try to run away?
The creature moves like a snail. It has no legs. Rather, its base expands and contracts again. Another feature it has in common with snails is that it's not particularly fast. You look around and scan the room. There's a door to the other side. You start running, but nothing happens. You want to move your feet, but something feels wrong. The creature's getting closer. It has already covered over half the distance between you. A feeling of doom sets in. Why can't you move? You can't even feel your legs. You're trapped somehow. Tied down, perhaps? You look down at yourself. But instead of your hands, these scissors at the end of tentacles appear in front of your eyes. You stare down at yourself in disbelief and find yourself transformed into a monstrous vermin. Where you were expecting to see your legs, there's only a fleshy cone from which 4 tentacles grow a pitiful claw arm, a trumpet-like extension in your neck. You are no longer in your own body. What is happening to me, you ask yourself. But you already know it yourself. You are one of those monsters. You faint. You should be able to understand me now. You open your eyes. You are still in the same position where you lost consciousness. Only a brief moment seems to have passed. But what is this pinching feeling on your neck? Looks like a small device has been attached to your new body. Waking up in a new body is disturbing. I understand that. So first off all, let me reassure you that this state is not permanent, and when you return, you won't remember anything. You hear the voice not through your ears or the comparable organ in this body, but directly in your head. What you hear is the clicking of scissors. I have attached a translation device to you. It can now discuss all the questions you no doubt have. Evidently, the beings communicate with each other via their scissors. So, what would you like to know, Joe?
Who are you?
The creature straightens up. We, translation in your head, begins with Aerogravitas, the great race of Yeth. We are the wisest species in the whole creation. Countless eons ago, but also in the distant future, we made it our mission to gather all the knowledge of the universe. We have sent our agents through space and time to observe and study. When we learned of our own demise in this way, we transplanted our spirits en masse into this form that you now see before you. Your new friend seems to want to do a playful pirouette to show off its body. But since he is resting on a slimy snail's foot, the process takes a good 2 minutes. Snazzy, isn't it? So functional and sturdy. His scissors rub against each other, which your device translates as bashful coughing. Anyway, to answer your question more directly, I am Mert. My colleagues and I are archivists in the Great Library of Penacta, so many hard words. Department of Human Studies, Western Hemisphere Subdivision, Pre-Nuclear America Working Group, or as we call ourselves, the Tough Amoebocytes. As if they reversed it before, the other Yeth in the room begin to shout, Tough Amoebocytes. Great, they're nerds. Joe?
Pre-nuclear America.
What do you mean by pre-nuclear America? We've had nuclear power stations for a while now. Mert makes a dismissive gesture of his hands, well clocked. Oh, don't worry about it. So what would you like to know, Anita? Where am I? The creature is thinking, you are in Australia. Huh? You've always imagined Australia differently. The important question is, when are you? Clicks one of the beings from further back in the room. The creature closer abruptly turns his long neck towards the heckler. Damn it, Frank. That's my favorite part of the newcomer lecture. Don't spoil it for me. Although you do not yet have much control over your new body, you can apparently roll your eyes. Okay, when am I? But the creature in front of you seems to be in a huff. Man, that's no fun now. You are on Pangea in the Permian period in the late Paleozoic era, where the distant future Australia will one day arise. About 250 million years before we picked you up. Okay. I'm confused. Are we in the past or the future? Eric?
We're
Time
we're
travel.
we're going back to the future.
I've traveled through time. Now it's the creature's turn to roll its eyes. To make this brief, yes, you did. Yes, like on TV, just completely different. No, we don't keep a record of lottery numbers. No, we have no interest in killing fascists while they're still children. No, we cannot start any paradoxes. The universe is predetermined, and free will is an illusion. Yes, that can be but also very liberating if you think about it for a moment. But yes, we also know about Back to the Future. Any other questions? Yes, if you can time travel, why do I have to wait here for years for my body to be released? Would it not be possible to send me back to the point in time where your colleague leaves my body at this very moment? The creature nods slowly. Yes, you'd think, wouldn't you? No further explanation seems to be forthcoming. Joe?
Ask about sports bets.
Okay. There must be some way to make money off of this situation. Fine, no lottery numbers. What about sports bets? The creature throws his scissors in the air in frustration. What is it with you people in sports? I once watched a 100-meter race done by one of our subdivisions. The two most boring days of my life. So, what would you like to know? Lita? Body. What has happened to my body? The translator transforms your thought into clicking sounds. You can only hope that the pressing nature of your question has not been lost in translation. Yes, that's the unpleasant part of the lecture. You touched one of our carefully placed transmitters, so your mind was switched with one of our agents. Carefully placed transmitter? You mean the cube? The cube at the top of the abandoned and locked lighthouse in the forgotten backwoods village in the middle of nowhere? I guess. The transmitter is placed in a way that ensures that it's only found by people who are not easily missed. While you are here, our agent is gathering vital information about your society and environment using your body. You are to remain here in his body and must wait until he has completed his mission. Then we will erase your memory so you won't take any of our superior knowledge with you, and send you back. And how long does that normally take? The creature answers sheepishly. Oh, 3 to 10 years max. This information hits you like a kick in the stomach, which in this body seems to be at the bottom of the fleshy cone. That's a very unusual feeling. 3 to 10 years? You mean Earth years? What am I supposed to do in the meantime? Well, we've got a lot of things to read around here. Also, we'd like you to write down your life story for us. An autobiography for the Great Library, preserved for all eternity. A bit of immortality most beings in this galaxy dare not even hope for. Oh dear. Eric?
Let's see. What happened to my body?
We did, we just asked that.
Okay, mention your vegan diet.
Wait, where are you right now?
Yeah, it says the stream paused.
Oh.
Okay, so now ask another question, I guess.
Okay. Alright, vegan diet. I'm hungry. I only eat vegetarian food. Do you have any good vegetarian snacks? The creature nods confusedly. Strange question, but yes. It is very important that the food is completely plant-based. Oh, don't worry. We are all vegetarians. There are no other food options. Our species has evolved to the point where we have been feeding ourselves for ages without harming other intelligent life. Somehow this answer does not make you as happy as it should. There is no sense of that usual feeling of moral superiority that settles in when you talk about your eating habits. You feel a little let down. Like, the youth clacks insecurely with its scissors. So, should I get you something to eat? Oh, never mind, you say glumly. I'm not that hungry after all. Alright. Guess we're done here. The creature seems to be baffled by this. Really? None? Nope. Okay. In that case, we'll set you up for training so you can get to know your new body a bit better. Once you've made some progress, we will teach you to write in Yith, and then you can start writing down your life story. Frank, can you give me a hand here? Frank glides from a machine that looks like a mix between a forklift lift truck and a spatula. He carefully scraps your currently still useless snail body off the floor and transports you out of the room. First, you learn to control your new body. Trumpet-like extensions which simultaneously serve as a breathing organ, mouth, and waste outlet prove to be the biggest challenge. You can only eat if your whole body is working on the task. You almost suffocated several times while eating. You sincerely hope that the agent in your human body is doing a better job at it. Then you start to learn the curved script of the Yith. In fact, everything in the culture of the Yith is curved, smooth, or circular. You have an extreme aversion to right angles. When you ask Frankie about it, he replies something about the dogs of the Tindala, who live in the corners of time and hunt time travelers. Fair enough. You start to settle in. All in all, Yiths prove to be quite boring people once you actually get to know them. Their bodies do not allow for much mobility. They have no sense for fiction, and they reproduce via spores, a very impersonal process which ensures that sex and love and all the dramas associated with them are completely unknown in their society. Since you are living in a host body, you are not allowed to take drugs or participate in any exciting or dangerous activities. The vegetarian food of the Yith is either very bland or the taste buds are not very developed. Perhaps it's by design, since this species takes in and excretes food through a single organ. You would kill for a bag of potato chips. Then comes the point where you're asked to write down your autobiography. You right, Joe?
A truthful account of your life.
Okay. Your story. This creepy yet fascinating race of aliens wants to hear your story. If anybody wants to hear your story, you'll never get a chance like this again. You start writing. You write about your average childhood, boring jobs, friendships, romances, the little triumphs and defeats that nonetheless always motivate you to go on. That was the easy part. The trumpet-like arm with which you hold the alien writing device skills. Your autobiography has almost reached the present moment. The reason for your presence in the realm of the Yith, the incredibly stupid decision to turn to a life as a private investigator caused by boredom and the consumption of too many Hollywood movies. If only you hadn't given up your old job. You were magnificent as Alita. I think Alita might be gone. May I still see them in the... Oh, wait, no, never mind. They're gone. So, Eric?
Alright. I'd say a graphic designer.
Staring at a monitor in the dark all day long, where your spine turns to mush and your right hand develops carpal tunnel syndrome. A delight. Why did you quit your job again? Oh, right, because of the clients. Putting all your experiences and feelings into words proves to be a good form of therapy. You can't wait to turn your life around. If only you weren't stuck in this lump of alien meat. After a few dull months, it's finally time for a party. In the large hall, one of the archivists gives you an extremely long and boring lecture on the importance of rapeseed oil in various human and post-human civilizations. All the youth gather around small bar tables in the area and listen intently as they sip on nourishing slime, which is slightly sweeter than usual. Afterwards, there is a competition in solving quantum equations. The different working groups complete with nerdy and terribly boring team names, complete against each other. The archivists of your working group, the tough amoebocytes, are kicked out early on by the electric pre-humanites and persistent platyhelminths to workworm pros.
A lot of weird words.
Yep. It is practically an orgastic celebration by youth standards. For you, the most important part of the evening is the first contact with other guests of the youth. Other beings pushed out of their bodies by the ages of the library and hurled through time stand around in their guest bodies and talk to each other quietly. Fortunately, they have small name tags on which you can see not only their names in the working group, but also their species of origin. With you at the table are two creatures who are identified as Gregor, post-Mohammedan Eurasia Homo sapiens, and daughter of second Amazon desert epoch, mega paraplanetactyl. You have the urgent need to talk to someone to avoid dying of brain hemorrhage due to boredom. You talk to. This is getting weird. Joe?
Gregor.
Another human being. The first contact in months you've had with another person. You turn to Gregor. So, hi. It's nice to meet a fellow human being. Where exactly are you from? Gregor's head flops towards you. He seems to have been lost in thought, but you have the feeling that he is happy to have an opportunity to talk. Is this true? Another human being? I'm so happy to finally be able to talk to a comrade. My name is Gregor Ishkinvov. I'm from Kiev. Gregor's head flops about rhythmically. Alida?
Some of the gibberish stuff is kind of weird.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, for those of you just tuning in, we basically touched the cube in the lighthouse and we basically became Cronenberg and traveled through time and stuff. And when are you from? Gregor's upper tentacle briefly twitches. Only a few seconds later do you realize that was probably an attempt at a tired smile, performed by a person in a body that meets exactly zero of the anatomical requirements for a smile. The last thing I remember is celebrating Labor Day with my friends. That was in 1980. I was promised that in 6 years, at the very latest, I would be allowed to go on with my life, and I will. Chernobyl, here I come. Luckily, you're currently in a robust youth body because your human face would be chalk white right now.
It's pronounced Chernobyl.
Whatever. Eric?
Let's see, where are we? Warren Gregor of Chernobyl.
I'd stay away from Chernobyl, mate. You warn him with a slow clacking of your scissors. What? But why? He quacks back. At least now you have his full attention. Well, Chernobyl, you continue. Everyone knows about Chernobyl in my time. Gregor's eyes widen. Yes? Why is that? Well, because of the... Joe?
Reactor incident.
There was an awful reactor incident, and, oh, damn it, if only you pay a bit more attention to things when you're still human. You desperately try to combine the tidbits of knowledge you have into a plausible story. Hundreds of acres of land were contaminated, maybe even more. Gregor does not seem convinced. It all sounds to me like you know very little about Mother Russia, my friend. His scissor snips back and forth 3 times. They have a strange sense of humor in the capitalist states. Your honorable intention to warn Gregor of his potentially painful death is beginning to waver. The guy is slowly but surely getting on your nerves. But What's more, he will have forgotten everything he's learned here in his time at the Yith. You've got to let him live his life. Gregor's head flops about rhythmically. Alita?
Kind of have to feel sorry for some of those peoples.
Yep. Yep. Alita loves vodka. I love vodka, you glide your scissors perhaps a little too enthusiastically. Gregor's head tentacle switched slightly. The universal implementary sign for who doesn't? Gregor's head flops about rhythmically. Eric?
Alright, Comrade, I guess?
Tell me, Gregor, what country are you from? Gregor appears to be standing up a bit taller. From the greatest country in the world, of course, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Only now does he seem to be reading your own name tag. Oh, an American. Tell me, in your time are the workers of your country finally free? Had the capitalist devils surrendered to communism? He is waiting for your answer. Joe?
Yes, you've shown us what's what.
Yes, you've shown us what's what. You agree with him without getting any more concrete. Ha! I knew it! Gregor cheers and his tentacles flutter about jubilantly. The childlike joy of his communist is about the dominance of his country warms you, nor no longer existing heart. Alright, and I guess we let the party. This is how you pass your time. Despite your initial bumps, you end up getting more closely acquainted with Gregor and Zezzer. Your shared fate is what ties you together. Over the coming months and years, you end up becoming friends and sharing common interests. You spend most of your time... I forgot whose turn it is.
I think it's either Lolita or Eric's. I mean, I went last, so...
I did the one. I did the one previously with Comrade.
Right.
Alright. Okay, I think it's Alita's turn. Study human history. Gregor manages to get you interested in the history of mankind and Earth in general, and you spend a lot of time in the library or talking to other guests of the Yith. You become quite an expert in human history. Even Potches know whose knowledge is almost completely lost in your time, like the Chronicles of Hyperborea. You also learn many things about the lives and history of the Native Americans, things no one ever taught you at school. You have long and intense debates about philosophy and learn new and interesting things about yourself. Sometimes, in quiet moments, you wonder what you would do if you were back in your old body. You get the feeling that you have never really learned to appreciate it. This is how the years go by, and towards the end, the boredom with the Yiths will become almost bearable. And then your time with the Yith is over. Finally, the day has come. You're being led to the transport room. It's the same room you arrived in so many years ago. When the process starts, you overhear two of the librarians talk. You have you erased your participant's memory, right? I thought you were doing that. Oh shit. And then you're gone. You wake up as you have woken up many times before. After drunken nights out in some dive bar, after awful parties at which you drank yourself into a stupor, but it's different this time.
You kind of remember everything because they forgot to do that.
The flickering before your eyes ceases. The agony and disorientation give way to a sense of clarity that you have rarely felt. Your normally slightly hazy thoughts are clear. Not a shallow pond, but a crystal clear lake. Your memory is full of knowledge from the intensive studies you have undertaken in the great library. So much knowledge. Your gaze wanders through the room in which you find yourself. The room sits there calmly between these four well-known walls. You are at home in your sofa. Well, technically it's not your sofa. It's a completely new one without the bugs and rats that had moved into a nest in the bottom. Everything is unnaturally clean, and the sofa does not seem to be the only piece of furniture that has been replaced. Later, you will find out that the youth who had swapped places with you has not only used his 6 years for highly efficient studies, he also applied for a position at the largest historical museum in Boston. Successfully, of course, because the youth do not do things by halves. Your eyes light up as you read the number on your last paycheck. You hold the paper so close to your face that your nose brushes the paper. Twice a year. Twice as often as you normally would. Your possessed body has contacted your family, giving what appears to be completely neutral, boring, and meaningless confirmations that you are fine. There are postcards from your relatives sending greetings from their holidays. Postcards which say they are proud of you, proud that you managed to turn your life around. That's certainly one way of putting it. The youth has eaten well. Fresh fruit, the prescribed daily minimum of vitamins, proteins, and fiber to make his studies as efficient as possible. The youth also exercised. In the bathroom, you look at your body and stretch it in front of the mirror. You take off one layer of clothing one after another. 6 years have gone by. Intrigued, you look at your face in the mirror. A few more wrinkles for sure, yet you feel that your life is only just beginning. Yeth we can. You spent 6 years of your life among the Yeth as if you had anything else going on. So, yep, that was quite an interesting chapter.
Interesting and weird.
Yep. Let's see. So yeah. So yeah, I think we got time for one more ending. So let's go back to the beach.
We still didn't find the girl, did we?
Nope. The beach! The screeching of seagulls, and endless white, well, brown, okay, fine, gray beach, and the sound of the waves. Clean, well, potentially clean water. The algae are way too dense to really tell. You walk on the sand and move a little closer to the waterline, curious about what you might discover there. Although the sea is not stormy and the tide is low, the Innsmouth Beach is not really a touristy place. Everything is simply too gray. This is what you associate with a real vacation. Eric?
Alright. I'd say the sea.
Okay. The sea. On the horizon, the ocean looks limitless. The rhythm of the waves is hypnotic. Spending time here is much better than visiting the dive bar next door. In the future, you should make day trips to run down coastal villages more often. Lost in thought, you keep wandering over the dunes. You notice how all the colors of the sea and the beach seem to be swallowed up by the strange light conditions here. You hold your hand up in front of your face. Your skin looks gray and matte, but still, you feel relaxed. The murmur of the sea invigorates you. You feel a deep sense of longing within you, a serene sense of inner peace and freedom, until the technical noise starts. A monotonous beat, the sound seems to come directly from the beach bar a few hundred yards off in the distance, which appears to be surrounded by about a dozen people. Given the changing weather, it's perhaps no surprise. What else is one supposed to do on this beach apart from drinking cheap cocktails and dancing to bad music? Something strange grabs your attention. A kind of cage standing in the shallow water, perhaps 12 feet wide and deep. You walk. Joe?
To the cage.
Thanks to the low tide, you're able to get close to the strange object. The sea has retreated into the distance, and so the cage stands there, looking strangely lost. As you approach it, you take off your shoes and socks and turn your trouser legs up a bit. Finally, you stand in front of the cage. There is a visible line in the cage about 3 feet from the ground. The metal on the top half still looks quite stable. The bottom half must normally be submerged in water. Slimy black algae winds around the metal rods. What's strange to you is what, Alita? Position. Very strange. The dunes are not that far away, excuse me. On your way, you notice that this is the part of the beach that usually remains untouched by the water. So even the high tide doesn't get to it. You must have only walked 50 yards. Even if the tide comes in, you think that the cage will never actually completely be submerged in water. Isn't that the point of these things? You start thinking about lobsters and lobster cages, and then shark cages. That's all you find here. You linger for a bit, then walk back to the sandy part of the beach. The cries of the seagulls are increasingly drowned out by early 90s techno beats. One note, that's all some people need to enjoy themselves. One note and an endless loop. The owner of the beach part has taken great pains to make up for some Innsmouth's deficits. The bar is made from wooden planks and features a nice countertop and an exotic canopy made from palm trees. Admittedly, the palm trees are no longer green. They're gray and dried out, just as if a demon had sucked the life force out of them. But it's easy to imagine that all this must have looked quite pretty once. The bar is flanked by wooden bar stools, and a few meters away towards the ocean, two rows of deck chairs have been put up so that people can get drunk while laying down. From a distance, the bar looked busy, but now, as you arrive, you realize the party is already over, if it ever did take place. A dozen people hang out here. A few super dudes stagger about like zombies. Some of them carry empty cocktail glasses. Some of them yell, "Party!" and "Woohoo!" enthusiastically. Precisely, this kind of people. A guy with long hair and sunglasses nods his head in time to the techno beat and taps along on the bar counter of his flat hand. There's no bar staff in sight. One of the tourist families we had spotted on the way here had spread out on the deck chairs. They're evidently trying to keep away from the party. You look around. Eric?
All right. Let's see. Sit at the bar or something?
Okay. Follow an instinct and sit down at the bar. This place reminds you of your favorite bar in Boston. Only that here, there's sand on the ground instead of vomit. You feel at home. Some hippie is poking at the slushy fruit remains in his cocktail glass with a straw. He nods over to you as you sit down. That is clearly not his first drink. Joe?
Just relax.
Okay. This is the life. It would be even better with a good drink, but hopefully the barman will return soon. Who knows? Maybe it'll be happy hour by then. Occasionally, the other guests talk to one another and mumble, "Where is Zeke?" You rest your chin on your hand, close your eyes, and let the sound of the waves and the cool sea breeze wash over you. Time passes. Your bottom slowly becomes numb on the uncomfortable bar stool, but by now you are too lazy to move. Finally! Yeah, about time, some of the tourists proclaim. What's going on there? A bored-looking man enters the area behind the bar. You wonder how old he is, but it's really hard to tell. He is wearing a stained green shirt and a squiggly J is embroiled on the left breast pocket. This must be Zeke, the bartender. When word of the barman's return is spread, holiday makers swarm the beach bar like bees around a honey pot. Sorry it took so long. Part-time job at the hotel, he says, bored, and attaches a little sign to his shirt which reads, Happy to serve you today, Ezekiel. You get 1 round of Innsmouth specials on me. He expertly lines up a row of tall highball glasses and begins a cup of pineapple. People start cheering, Go Zeke! Go Zeke! 2 young men start chanting. They enthusiastically jump up and down and hug each other. It takes a while until the first rush of the bar is over. You wonder what you could ask Zeke. Lita?
Yeah, I'm gonna be resetting my resetting my computer. So there's having some issues and things.
Okay. Oh, I think Alina's gone, so Eric, what do you want to do?
Is this place always this busy?
There's a steady rush in the bar. The tourists continue to enjoy their drinks. And nobody seems to want to leave the beach bar. Not bad for the northeast coast in late September. This place already this busy, you inquire? Nope. Bit busier this weekend, but wait until midnight. Then the party really starts, if you know what I mean. He winks at you. Oh. I think I may have skipped this choice accidentally. You know exactly what he means and look back at him. Wink, wink. You know about stuff and things. You wonder what you could ask Ezekiel. Joe?
Try the Innsmouth special.
You're curious. What's the Innsmouth special? An STD? It's the best drink on the whole East Coast, baby. One detective guy sings songs drunkenly. Considering the way he holds himself up, it borders on a miracle that he manages to string a coherent sentence together. The surrounding people merely nod. Nobody seems to know which ingredients are actually used in this concoction. You, Lita? Okay, we're gonna try a sip. Better drunk than sorry. Cheers, Ezekiel mumbles without looking at you. He calmly continues to chop pieces of pineapple to prepare the next batch of drinks. You sip from the glass and the taste is strong. The taste of strong alcohol is bitter on your tongue. The orange juice and pineapple pieces barely hide the high rum content. Admittedly, you've previously exposed your body to much worse fluids. It tastes awful. Eric? Eric? Oh, I guess Eric's restarting his computer. Alright, Joe.
Party.
Have another sip? Party! You shout and raise your fist into the air. Woohoo! Party! The other young people scream. Before you know it, you're part of a party crowd. If only you had known 10 years ago how easy it is to make friends. Raise your glasses. A young blonde named Cheryl, or Cherry, or what, or was it Sharon? Anyway, she's in the process of scribbling her phone number on one of the hippies' wrists. Unfortunately, nobody has a pen at hand, so she uses a golf feather. But it's the thought that counts. You empty your glass and hand it to Ezekiel. With a heavy heart, you lead the man to his work. You've already spent too much time during this investigation at the beach bar, so what now? The sea breeze makes you sleepy. You trot towards deck chairs in the haze. It can't hurt to just rest for a moment. It means you'll be able to resume your mission full of energy or whatever. Most of the chairs are free. All offer excellent views of the sea and an increasingly cloudy horizon. You're spoiled for choice. Alright. Okay. So I think last time, like, we went to somewhere more private, and then that led to, like, another series of events where, like, we basically got buried and got chased out of Innsmouth, so let's try the other choice. Why not? Maybe you'll be able to learn your language if you spend some time around them. It's one of the families you've already noticed a few times today. Happily chatting parents who are constantly eating and their chronically bad-tempered children. The four are hard to miss with their loud chatter and tasteless tourist outfits. They've settled down on the deck chair, sipping on soft drinks. You clear your throat. The international sign for "Hello there, I'd like to say something." What are you going to ask them? Lita? Alright. Yeah, we should probably focus on the girl. I'm looking for this girl, you say, and show them the photo of Tabitha. The parents bend forward and squint in order to see the little face better. Nope, sorry, the father says he go best to sipping his fruit juice. Nope, me neither, the wife adds. Nothing then. Why are you gonna ask them? Joe?
Yeah, the stream is paused right now, so I can't see the later stuff.
Alright, can you see it now?
Yeah. Okay, let me see. Do you know what these cages are for?
That strange flame alone in the water in the middle of nowhere. You have to keep thinking about it. Do you know what these cages are for? Did you ask the parents? Oh, those? The father's face lights up. I've just taken some photos of them. I think they're for children to climb on. They're not meant for children, his wife chips in. That's how people here catch lobster and whales and things like that. Bullshit, the son murmurs. He pokes the sand of a wooden branch, probably imagining he is stabbing someone. They're from the Middle Ages, and people were put in there to drown. Ah, kids. Alright. And, well, to hell with them, I guess. Nothing. To hell with them. Who are you kidding? You decide to lean into your antisocial side. You get comfortable on the deck chair. The incoherent chatter of the family remains merely a static noise in the background. Not too shabby. The dark clouds drawing together on the horizon bore you a little, but they're far away enough for you to simply enjoy this moment on a beach. Technically, you have been near a beach the whole time, but you couldn't really switch off. It was a haunting sense of danger, a feeling of paranoia that you simply couldn't shake off. Luckily, the paranoia is now gone. A cool sea breeze caresses her face as you tune out the other tourists' annoying conversations. You listen to the murmurs of the waves. The regular to and fro of the sea has a soothing effect on you. Your eyes fall shut. Next thing you hear is a swishing sound. You are awake and regret it instantly. Your head is pounding. It's cold, you're freezing. After you had settled down quite comfortably on one of the deck chairs, you now seem to be standing upright. You're pretty damn sure of that. You're standing upright facing the sea. The green, unhealthy glow of the moon is the only source of light in this dark night. Not only did you take a nap, but it appears that you slept through the whole day. You start to move in order to make your way back to the harbor, but something holds you back. Your head simply won't follow you. You realize that you've been tied to some sort of pole. Your fingertips can feel a rough and splintery surface. A wooden pole. Alita? Okay, looks like Eric's coming back. Alright, Lisa says kidnapped. Have you been kidnapped? Hard to say. Try to remember the last moments before you fell asleep. Did you get drunk, or is there still residual alcohol from last night in your bloodstream? Son of a... you hear a voice say. They sound familiar, and you think it might be one of the guys who was demanding a drink at the beach bar earlier. And you had assumed you were by yourself. Hello? He asked hopefully. Hey, did he get you too? You wriggle around to try to look at the guy. Hey, Eric, welcome back. The ties keep you firmly in position without much room for to move about. So many questions. So yeah, Eric, we're back at like the night at the beach party, and now apparently we're tied up on something.
So where are we exactly again?
Right. Yeah, we're back at the beach at night.
Okay.
And now we're tied to something. All right, Eric, should we ask the guy if we're able to untie us, who they are, or who got us?
Who are you?
Who are you? You ask bluntly. I'm Dave. I have been... He interrupts himself. You're pretty certain he's about to make a lame gesture. Partying here? I must have overdone it somehow. I haven't got a clue about how I got here. Time to take stock of the situation. You have been tied to a pole. Salt water spills into your shoes at regular intervals, and your socks are soaked. In front of you, the fastest of the sea. It would be relaxing, actually, if it weren't so terribly cold. Hey, what's that? An unfamiliar voice asks behind you. How many people there are with you? Whatever they were talking about, you can't make out anything apart from the green shimmering waves in the pale moonlight. What was it? I don't know. Something? Maybe it was a fish. I wouldn't panic if it was a stupid fish, Alan. I know what a damn fish looks like. There! You saw something. Something broke through the surface of the water, only to immediately dive in again. Something smooth and slimy. You squint. It would have been better not to have had any of this cheap hooch from the beach part, but it's too late for that now. Overall, it would have been better to do many things differently. If only you could turn back time. Joe?
Work on your damn mission.
That's right. Where's the child you're supposed to find? Not the beach, that's for sure. If only you could turn back time, you'd do things much better. You would track down the child, collect the reward, and return to Boston triumphantly. Splashing sound. There it is again. It's coming closer. Increasingly nervous, you look over the waves, a shark in shallow water, an army of killer jellyfish, or a giant raging crab. Not really sure what it is you're looking out for. Your unhelpful brain comes up with more and more sea creatures, but you actually have no idea what these animals feed on. Something cold suddenly settles around your ankles. You scream panicked because it's cold and wet and strange, wrong, not from this here, definitely not from this world. They can see you, they can all see you, they will. One of the men behind you curses loudly and you return your senses again. Holy shit. Someone behind you says, then falls silent in the middle of the sentence. Something crawls along your... Oh god! Something crawls along your ankles, higher and higher, moving under the fabric of your clothes. Then there are three more tentacles slowly glide around your belly, over your arms and around your hands. You look at the creature that's tingling itself all around you. It is milky white and slightly transparent, almost like a jellyfish. It has suction cups that stick to your skin. It holds you in a vice-like grip. By now, you are profoundly terrified by the ice-cold touch of the creature. You try to scream for help again, but no sound escapes your lips. You can hear quite quiet whimpering from behind you, so you assume that the people who are tied up behind you can clearly see what is engulfing your body. You try to grasp for air, but there is this pressure on your chest. The blood supply to your body is interrupted in several places, and a numbness sets in. Several places in your body alert you to the fact that you urgently need to change something about the situation. By the time your ribs crack, you've already passed out. Screams, the last thing you ever hear in your life, are the screams of your fellow prisoners. Yep, and that's another ending, the Song of the Sea. Tentacles pull you into the depths of the sea. Innsmouth waves take me home to the place I belong. Okay, so yeah, we accomplished a lot. We became a yig and got an amazing job out of it, and also we got squeezed by like a tentacle monster or something. I think overall that was a very successful stream. So yeah, I think we're gonna end it here. What do you guys think so far?
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I did.
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. So yeah, I think we'll continue this next week. Hopefully this time we'll hopefully next time we'll get past like the beach segment. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.